Fugazi was definitely taking a lot of chances with. It was sort of like they were using that to some degree, like just a recognizable song arrangement structure, but really, twisting it on its head kind of with what the choices they would make, and just sort of like opened my eyes to like what you can do, that maybe I hadn't thought of before.
Hallo und herzlich willkommen zu Der Soundtrack meines Lebens. Ich bin Jan Schwarzkamp und ich werde euch in diesem Podcast auf eine musikalische Reise mitnehmen. Eine durch das tönende und klingende Leben meiner Gäste. Mal nerdig, mal erhellend, immer persönlich. Ein Austausch über Popkultur im Allgemeinen und ein Blick aufs Leben durch die Linse der Musik im Speziellen. Viel Spaß mit der folgenden Episode. Zu Gast in dieser Episode von Der Soundtrack meines Lebens ist Jim Adkins. Der kommt als James Christopher Adkins im November 1975 zur Welt. Sieht man ihm nicht an, denn er sieht seit etwa 30 Jahren ziemlich exakt gleich aus. Das ist schon ein bisschen unheimlich. Aufgewachsen ist er in Mesa, einer 500.000 Einwohner Metropole im US-Wüstenstaat Arizona. Und der Legende nach spielt er Gitarre, seitdem er 2 ist. Durch seinen Cousin aus Nebraska lernt er irgendwann Fugazi kennen. Das ändert einiges. Nach ersten Bands in der Mountain View High School gewinnt ihn Schlagzeuger Zach Lind für seine Band. Die nennt sich bald Jimmy Eat World. Das namenlose Debütalbum von 1994 hat als physische Kopie kaum die Grenzen von Arizona, geschweige denn der USA, verlassen. Vielmehr gilt Static Prevails von 1996 als der eigentliche Einstand der Band. Jimmy Eat World spielen darauf einen mitreißenden, mal hymnischen, mal zurückhaltenden Mix aus Pop-Punk und Post-Hardcore. Die Genrezuschreibung Emo hassen sie. Mit den Bands dieser Peer Group teilen sie sich jedoch seitdem Bühnen- und Split-Singles. 8 weitere Alben haben Jimmy Eat World seitdem veröffentlicht. Ihren guten Ruf als Songwriter haben sie sich bis heute bewahrt. Und obwohl es wahrscheinlich die wenigsten gemerkt haben, hat sich Adkins in dieser Zeit ein Alkoholproblem angelacht. Doch seit etwa 2013 ist er trocken. Mit seiner Ex-Frau Amy hat Adkins 3 Kinder und aus Mesa ist er weggezogen, und zwar ins nahegelegene Phoenix. Weil mittelalte weiße Männer ja verpflichtend Podcasts machen müssen, betreibt auch Adkins den Pass-Through Frequencies Podcast, in dem er ab August 2020 für knapp 3 Jahre mit MusikerInnen vornehmlich über Songwriting und Kreativität spricht. Und jetzt freue ich mich sehr, Jim Adkins hier in der Soundtrack meines Lebens willkommen zu heißen. Hi Jim, happy to meet you backstage at the Columbia Halle.
Hi, how's it going? Thanks for having me on.
You're very welcome. Sorry I dropped the word emo in there. We will not talk about that. Don't worry. Because I know that you're not fond of that genre description, right?
Yeah, I get very angry.
Yeah.
You don't like me if I'm angry.
Yeah, but it's the same like with the grunge bands don't want to be called grunge. The stoner bands don't want to be called stoner.
I would love to be called a grunge band. Let's start that up.
Okay, let's do this.
Okay.
So, Jim, I mentioned in the introduction that I find it a little scary that you don't seem to age at all. You basically look the same, well, since Static Prevails. I have proof. I had a look at the photo of yours in the booklet. So, what is your secret?
Oh, man. It's a whole lot of squats.
Of course, yeah, sure.
Whole lot of squats. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean,
do you have a good facial cream?
Facial cream? No. Just, I think like just trying to do what you think you should do, and it's worked out so far.
Okay. Well,
like try to get sleep.
Yeah. But I mean, what I didn't know for years is that you had a drinking problem.
Yeah.
And it seems that nobody really knew about that. Until you said, well, I overcame the alcohol problem I had.
Yeah. No, pretty good at... I think I was okay at keeping it, like, not in the front.
Yeah.
Probably less good than other people realize, but, like, you always think you're hiding something, but everyone else kind of knows,
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, just
Well, I didn't.
it just wasn't working for me anymore.
Yeah, it's.
It wasn't working for me anymore. And
but you can be proud of yourself. I mean, that's good that you overcame that. That's good that you're sober. That's that's important. We want to have you on stage.
No, thanks. I want to be on stage. I want to be here. And I feel like, you know, it's just so much better now. It's just so much better now.
Yeah. But let's start at the beginning. Your family stems from Nebraska, if I'm not wrong. But you were born and raised in Mesa. Is it pronounced correctly, Mesa?
Mesa? Yeah, sure.
Mesa, Arizona? Okay.
Yeah.
And it's quite a big city. It's also pretty close to the even bigger Phoenix.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the cities are right next to each other and kind of part of each other.
Yeah.
Sort of like, like LA.
Yeah.
LA, what's LA? You know, it's like Santa Monica. Yeah. It's like all these different municipalities that are just basically LA.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the Phoenix Mesa. Mesa's like the east part of like the greater Phoenix area.
But it is definitely not you didn't spend your growing up in total cultural isolation. You have been living in a vivid big city. So let me ask you, what did your parents back in the late 70s, early 80s listen to when you were a very young little Jim?
I remember a couple things. I remember Steely Dan.
Yeah.
I remember like Simon and Garfunkel. I remember like maybe Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller. Mm-hmm. I think I wanted to get Thriller because I saw the moonwalk on MTV, and I was big into breakdancing as a little kid.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it's as big as any, as big into it as any 10-year-old's gonna be.
Yeah.
But those are a couple things that I remember, I think.
Did radio play a role at the Adkins house?
Did what?
Radio? Was there? Did you listen to radio? Was it on while having breakfast or something? Or driving the car?
I have a memory of my dad's stereo system, which was like, I can't remember what model it was, but it was a Marantz receiver with like the, I can't remember the brand of it, but like the wooden, like kabuki front kind of speakers that are just the grills that are all wood.
Yeah.
Yeah. What today would be a really expensive vintage setup, but that was like the current setup there.
Yeah.
So I just have a memory of that. Like it was a part of our house, but it was never like, I definitely took the ball and ran with it when I discovered like music for myself.
Yeah. But you already mentioned MTV. It launched in August 1st, 1981 in New York. And when did that start become a part of your life, MTV? Because it is a part of every little child's life back in the day.
I think, my parents made me take piano lessons. And I thought that was okay. That was fine. That was fine, But I definitely discovered like I don't know. I stuck with it enough to be able to not be really awkward and play things, Mm-hmm. But when I discovered MTV and rock music, it was like, I want to play guitar.
Yeah.
My dad had a guitar around. He played guitar, but it was never,
Were you allowed to?
It was like folk stuff, like Dust in the Wind type of finger picking things. I wanted like to play Rock You Like a Hurricane. That's what I wanted. I wanted to play Scorpions and Rat and.
But how did you discover those bands?
MTV.
MTV? Was it all on MTV?
Yeah, it was a thing. Yeah. It was like the 83, 84 maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was the Headbangers Ball around already?
I think that might be pre-Headbangers Ball. Maybe that started, but I remember that being a thing for sure.
Yeah. So legend has it that you started playing the guitar when you were 2 years old. At least that's what journalist Dan Ozzie noted down in his book Sellout.
It was second grade. Maybe
second grade.
Yeah, the two part of it's right. Then not 2 years old.
Maybe there's a translation mistake then.
Yeah, it was second grade. I think you're like 8.
Yeah.
In America, usually at that point, 8 or 7 or 8, maybe.
Yeah. And what made you initially pick up the guitar? I mean, you mentioned MTV, you mentioned seeing the rock bands.
It just seemed cooler than the piano.
Yeah. and you wanted to be part of the Scorpions pyramid.
You know, like all those videos back then were just this like really outrageous, like fantasy world thing. I like thought was super cool. You know, like you kind of, you know, you imagine yourself in like the Thunderdome, rocking hurricane style.
But when you were 7 years old, there is a song that came out by a British hard rock band called Def Leppards, and the song is called Photograph, that is released in 1983. And I have heard that song especially had an impact on you.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite. That was my favorite song on Pyromania.
So why is that song so special? I mean, because I listened to it and I was like, I know that it is popular, but I don't necessarily know why. So what makes it so popular for you? What's so special for you?
I think maybe when you haven't been exposed to a lot of rock music, and that is the cutting edge of rock music for the day, it's probably a little bit more impactful. I mean, it's a great song. To this day, I'm like, oh, that's just solid. Mm-hmm. You know, it has legs. I don't know what it is about it. Like the production. It was sort of like this rock thing, but also kind of like almost a pop thing.
Yeah,
in a weird way.
Pretty poppy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like sort of the first kind of like crossing over into the pop world, which also kind of played a big role. Like, you know, the radio as a younger, you know, 10 to 12-year-old person, there was like a lot of other like pop music that was kind of cool.
But can you remember when you went out to buy your first record?
I remember I don't know if it was my first one, but it was definitely one that sticks out. I remember driving to guitar lessons with my mom, and we had this deal where, like, if I'd done my practicing, she would let me pick out a cassette to buy. Mm-hmm. I remember, I remember I had Nana 99 in one hand and Quiet Riot Mental Health in the other. And I chose Quiet Riot.
Yeah.
I think my life would have definitely been different today if I would have gone with Nana.
Probably. Maybe. Yeah. I mean, till this day, you play their Quiet Riot's take on "Come On, Bring the Noise" as your intro song.
Yeah, we do that sometimes. It's a party song. It's great.
It is. Yeah. It's also something that you have in common with Rivers from Weezer, right? He was a big Quiet Riot fan. I think there's a poster of Quiet Riot in the garage that you can see in the booklet of the Blue album. Yeah. Blue Weezer album. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great, they're a great band.
But where could you buy records anyway? I mean, was it easy to provide yourself with records? Were there record stores around, or did you have to go far?
There were a lot of, like, in that time, there was a lot of record stores. There was very few like good record stores, you know, but like there was like Tower Records was a big chain. There was like chain record stores. There was like The Warehouse, Sam Goody, Tower Records. But there's only like a handful of like indie shops kind of that had like the more They had like more punk hardcore things. Like you'd have to kind of dig for that. But if you wanted any like regular commercial release, it wasn't hard to find it.
Yeah.
Anything that was like on radio or MTV, you could find it.
But in your teenage years, I mean, you get into all kinds of guitar virtuosos and so-called hair metal bands like Motley Crue and whatnot. How did that look like? I mean, did you have funny hair yourself, or a battle vest, or a leather jacket, or posters on the wall?
I didn't have really any of that. It was just like, I don't know. I just liked the music of it and like the guitar aspect of it.
Yeah.
It kind of went from started out with hair metal things, MTV era, like birth of MTV rock, and then as I got a little bit older and I could play, more intricate things, I got more into like the shredder, like Metallica. I got harder, as I got older. Yeah. And then, I just realized at some point that, when I heard like hardcore, when I heard like Fugazi and, started playing in bands and like hearing other, like hearing punk bands. And I just thought, this is way more like I can do this. Like here's something that harnesses all of the like kind of aggression or angst or like energy of the shredder guitar player people, but I can actually play this stuff. Yeah. I realized that I would never be like this incredible virtuoso player, but here's a way. Here's something that people are doing that kind of channels that same energy in a way that is like subversive, and I dug that.
But can you remember the first song you learned on guitar? Not that they made you learn, but that you maybe learned yourself because you wanted to be able to play it?
Oh man, maybe I don't know. The first song maybe that I can think of. Maybe I might have asked my guitar teacher to teach me how to play "Walk This Way," because that would have been around the time that Run DMC did the Aerosmith thing. I was like, oh man, that's cool. Yeah. Like that's how I discovered Aerosmith is through the Run DMC cover.
Yeah. You were attending Mountain View High School, and as a kid interested in music, you formed a band. It was called Sonic Pudding. How did that band sound like?
It sounded like a high school battle of the bands contender.
Yeah. Did you have your own songs, or did you play cover versions?
No, we played. Oh God, there might have been one or two covers we did, but I can't remember. It was mostly original stuff.
Yeah,
just like all over the place.
But it's an incredibly silly name.
Sure.
And you might have realized that at some point yourselves, and then you renamed your band into I Ate the Sandbox.
I come from a long line of really silly band names. Yeah, band names are just silly. Their band names are just dumb. It's like a bunch of dudes hanging out saying, "Hey guys, what are we gonna call our band?" Like, "Hey guys, what are we gonna call our gang? Let's be a gang. Come on, what are we gonna call ourselves? Cool, rad." It's like so dumb when you think about it.
It is. I mean, it's complicated finding a cool band's name.
I know.
Yeah.
And then you just feel like an idiot.
Yeah.
Like trying to be cooler than you are with some cool name.
You finally came up with the band name the Shone Theory.
Yes.
If that is pronounced correctly.
Sure.
Yeah. Did you name that band after Journey's guitarist Neil Schon?
No, it was another guy.
That's why
I know. It could be.
Myself.
It could be. Yeah. It was after another. There was like another dude in a local band named Mike Schon.
Okay.
For some reason, our bass player thought that's what we should call it because he played in another band with him.
Because when I Googled Schon Theory, I found out about a philosopher and professor called Donald Allen Schon. And he has a concept of relative reflective practice. So I thought that this is the
that's
theory
that's a
you
much,
referred to, but
that's
it
a
is
much
maybe
cooler answer. Yeah, we named it after that. We just we reflected a lot in that band and thought that would be appropriate.
But well, I think at one point you might have grown out of that hair metal thing.
Oh yeah, none of those bands were anywhere close to like what I would say is hair metal.
Yeah, but is any stuff of the past that you really liked as a kid? Is there anything that you still like to listen to, go back to sometimes?
All the time.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So just what is it?
Well, I mean, I don't know. Pyromania, Pyromania in 1984 definitely get played a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
Solid.
Okay. But as I mentioned, your family is originally from Nebraska, and there you've got a cousin, and he introduces you to Washington, D.C.'s Fugazi.
True.
A band that delivered one of the blueprints of what people call post-hardcore. What did Fugazi do for you?
It was just this it was like the purest distillation of the energy that metal had, but in this creative way. Mm-hmm. And I was just really drawn to that. It's sort of like, oh, wow. And it was catchy too. It was like, musical hooks to it that are undeniable, especially if you like rock music at all. It's, and just some of the, if you listen to a lot of the, like, any of like the more metal songs that aren't like 6 minutes long, it's like, or like with the pop stuff, like they're almost going for like a pop template of what a song should be, like very, it's just, it has guitars on it. And, Fugazi was definitely taking a lot of chances with, it was sort of like they were using that to some degree, like just a recognizable song arrangement structure, but really, twisting it on its head kind of with what the choices they would make, and just sort of like opened my eyes to like what you can do, that maybe I hadn't thought of before.
Did you get lucky enough to see them live?
Yeah, I saw them a few times.
You saw them a few times?
Our first European tour we did here, our whole plan was Rick, the bass player, and I were going to stay behind and go see Fugazi play, because they were on tour in Europe at the same time that was going on.
Yeah.
And we ended up going to see them. Our whole plan was, I know that this is like the pre-internet too. So we had, I don't even know how we found this out, but they were playing in Paris. And our whole plan was, okay, we're going to go hang out, and then we're going to make our way to Paris, because we'd never been there. We're going to see it. Mm-hmm. And they were playing at Café de la Danse. And I remember this. We get there, and of course it's sold out. Are you kidding me? Like, we're not going to walk up and get tickets. So we're sitting there, and with one of our friends that met us from the States, we're on the street hanging out, just bummed out. They're playing. We hear them, and like, there's a bunch of other kids there too that it's sold out. They couldn't get in, and we're standing in the alleyway, and one of the doors to the club opens up. Like a bouncer on the inside of it, like leaned on it or whatever. One of the other kids catches the door, and then we all run in. So all of a sudden, now we're on the floor. We just snuck into Fugazi in Paris. That was amazing.
That sounds like an adventure. Yeah. What kind of guy was your cousin that introduced you to Fugazi? Did he introduce you to other stuff as well?
Yeah,
was he a little older than you?
Yeah, he was a couple of years older than me. He was just friends with everybody that played in bands that was starting out there.
Yeah.
A lot of some of the people that became like the heart of Saddle Creek.
Yeah.
He was like that. Those were his friends.
Yeah. Before we broaden the post-hardcore thing, let's stick to Nebraska. I don't know how deep your connection to your family's heritage is, but there's a legendary album that focuses on the prairie state in the Midwest, Bruce Springsteen's Nebraska. Did you at some point connect with that album?
Later on, but not because it was anything Nebraska-ish. I really liked how stripped down it was. It was like, what else do you need?
Yeah.
That showed me something.
Yeah. But back to Fugazi. They are from the West Coast. And if you would search, let's say, for somehow a similar band on the West Coast, you might eventually find out about a band called Drive Like Jehu. Is it Jehu or Jehu?
Jehu, yeah.
Jehu, yeah. And they start in 1990 in San Diego, released their self-titled debut in 1991, and their second and last record, Yank Crime, in 1994. How do you get to know about them, and why do you get so heavily into them?
Found out about Drive Like Jehu from the good record stores around, and like just instantly knew it was something special. You know, like what they were doing with the guitar work was it was incredible. It was sort of like the dissonant things that happen in Fugazi, but way more. I don't know, way more just chaos. It was like, you know, John Reese and Rick Froberg, like just the tension that they make with the parts and their choices. It's like this really, really weird, powerful. It's like playing with a Tesla coil. You know, it's like there's a little bit of fear there, but it's like just insane, and you can't stop. You know, you can't stop checking it out.
Yeah, it's fascinating what they did, and it's I mean, they influenced a plethora of musicians, but they had their influences themselves. So besides heavily being into an obscure Richmond band named Honor Roll, they were into Mission of Burma, Bastro, Slint, Sonic Youth, and the Vipers. Did you do research back in the day, trying to find out what bands your heroes listened to?
Yeah, sometimes you'd read an interview with a band that you liked, and then they would talk about somebody else, and you're like, oh yeah, I'll check that out for sure. That happened a lot. Yeah. Or maybe reviewers would use a different band to describe the band that you're listening to. That's a reference I don't know about. I'm gonna go see them.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot. Print journalism had a much bigger role in everyone's life back then.
Yeah.
It's funny, like I talk about stuff like that. It's like, oh yeah, there was a zine that did this. Like kids are like, what?
So did you actually buy music magazines and fanzines and whatnot to inform yourself about what is coming out, what is happening?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Bought Maximum Rock and Roll.
Maximum, of course, yeah.
And probably Heart Attack was one of them. God, there was another one that. Oh, and then also like the more mainstream ones like Alternative Press. Every once in a while, I'd read like Rolling Stone. There might be some random suggestion, you know, or like the chart that had the college, the random weirdo chart that had like the record, some weirdo record store.
I'll do a little leap forward now because I'd like to stick to Drive Like Jehu, or more precisely, their drummer Mark Trombino. And he first started doing production work for his own band and then continued with work for Boilermaker and Drip Tank and No Knife. And in 1996, Jimmy Eat World's second album, Static Prevails. And later on, 3 more of your records. What made you pick him, and what did he get out of you and you out of him?
We picked him because we liked the sound of the records that he was making, and the creativity, the mindset, the sort of more obscure punk ethos in creative choices that just he had from his own musical,
world.
Yeah, his own musical world.
Yeah.
It was also nice he was a drummer. So like there are some producers that just don't. They're more like they have some kind of playing knowledge, but they're not always like shredder players.
Yeah.
But Mark, he solves those musical puzzles on his own, like thinking about how to make songs better or more interesting or whatever. So it was just it was like a little security that we knew that he wasn't going to let something go off into a direction that didn't make sense for what we were trying to do.
Yeah. Well.
What we got from him, I mean, we learned a lot about making records. He was like the first, sort of like actual big producer that we got a chance to work with, an engineer, taught us a lot. We had a basic knowledge of things, but seeing him work and like, come up with a solution to whatever creative puzzle we were working on at the time. Like when you solve that, now like that method is in your menu for future problems you run into. Just kind of like, so like later on you're working, you might remember, oh wait, what are we supposed to do here? I don't know. Oh wait, yeah. When we were working with Mark, we did this, and like you can do that again. So you learn that from every producer that you work with. It's like everyone has a different way of approaching music, and of course they're going to think to solve a problem in a different way. Like that just informs your greater knowledge of how to solve problems.
Yeah. Drive Like Jehu, they haven't been a singular entity, but they came out of a vivid Southern California scene. And while the singers and guitarists Rick Froberg and John Reese were playing in a band called Pitchfork before, Reese, or Speedo, was parallelly working with the rock and roll band Rocket from the Crypt, and later Froberg and Reese founded Hot Snakes, not to mention other bands with a similar personnel like the Obits, the Night Marchers, and last but not least, the Plosives. Did you follow all that?
Oh,
yeah.
Of course.
Of course you did, yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool. The San Diego bands, if you're going to go on tour, you pretty much have to stop in Arizona. If you're going east, like you'd just be driving for so long, you'd run out of money. So the San Diego bands would play in Arizona a lot. It was kind of like, so we got to see a lot of them.
Yeah.
It was kind of like local band adjacent kind of.
Okay, so did you and your band have the pleasure to support any of those bands then back in the day?
We
like Rocket from the Crypt or something.
We got to open up for Rocket from the Crypt.
Okay.
On their Hot Charity tour.
Okay.
When they did a free tour. I don't know if you remember that, but they did the LP Hot Charity, and they did like a mini tour around it, and the concept was all the shows are free.
Okay. Did it turn out well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you go see a free gig with Rocket from the Crypt?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You have to know about them first, I guess.
Yeah. But Plosives is the last project. It's without Rick, obviously.
Yeah.
How did you like that? Did you
Plosives?
Plosives.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Rob Crow from Pinback singing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
And Adam is such a gnarly drummer.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Who was also in Rocket from the Crypt.
Yeah.
For a while.
But now let us take a few steps back again. After different bands in high school, your buddy since preschool, Zach Lind, invited you to form a band with him. And it's going to be Jimmy Eat World. And at some point in 1994, Jimmy Eat World released their first album. You are 18, 19 years old at that time. The record is released on a punk label from Arizona, Wooden Blue Records. And it follows your first 7-inch EP, 1, 2, 3, 4. And those recordings didn't really leave the state of Arizona, I suppose. Your early stuff isn't on any streaming platforms, nor has it officially been re-released. So if it wasn't for a couple of nerds putting the stuff up on YouTube, I could only fantasize about it, how it might have sounded. So Static Prevails. And I kind of imagine the worst, maybe, but that first album isn't that bad at all. I mean, it's from 1994. You were teenagers and recorded 11 fully formed songs that oscillate between melodic pop-punk and quite angular post-hardcore with, yes, a certain influence by Drive Like Jehu. So please tell me, how did this album come about? And what were you aiming for? And whom were you influenced by around that time besides Drive Like Jehu, obviously?
We made that first Jimmy Eat World album when the band was maybe 7 months old. And I think at that time, our music sounded a lot like our record collection, which was basically all over the place, like it's like No Effects and Propaganda, Face to Face, but then also like Rocket from the Crypt, Drive Like Jehu, Superchunk.
I noted down Mr. T Experience, Radon.
Oh yeah,
and Horace Pinker.
Sure, yeah. Horace Pinker was one of the bigger local bands.
Yeah,
and I think like that's what all bands do when they're starting out, like. Their music kind of sounds like their record collection. Mm-hmm. It's not after you work together for a little bit that you start finding your own voice in that. Yeah. So that's what that is. That's why it's all super fast.
Yeah. Don't you like your first album, or why did you never make an attempt to re-release it and
it's
show
horrible.
It?
I mean, we're kids just having fun, like whatever.
But it isn't actually so bad. I mean, it is quite all right. I was wondering about that. It is quite all right. I mean, for a band existing for only 7 months with teenagers in it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like, I can say that if I look back on that little kid Jim did his best. With what he knew about the world, and what his record collection had in it.
Okay, fair enough.
You know, like you can't beat yourself up over like what if you like come down on yourself for like a story you wrote like 20 years ago. You know, like you of course make some different choices now, but it's you can't beat yourself up over it.
But in the very end of that Jimmy Eat World debut album, after the song Cars, there is this weird freak out with some noodling some noodling, and there's the
some
intro.
Noodling?
What?
Some noodling? Isn't that the whole album?
Maybe, but there is a special kind of noodling. You noodle the intro of Guns N' Roses' "Sweet Child O' Mine" in there, and somebody's mentioning "Show Satriani." So what is that about? You can't remember.
Like 2 a.m. hijinks that we somehow made it on the record.
Yeah. So during that time, starting in 1993, you teamed up with Joel Lebo?
Yeah.
Who ran Wood Blue Records to help promote Mesa as a touring spot for bands to build up a local scene. So how did that look like? Did you put on shows? Did you write letters to Maximum Rock and Roll magazine? Did you come up with a fanzine or distro?
Yeah, we listed ourselves in the Maximum Rock and Roll booking guide and just put up the most terrible local shows that we could. I really feel bad for any of the bands that we booked.
What was so bad about it? I mean, what did you do?
Just like, I don't know.
We don't have any money, but please play.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, it's tough to get the word out now. I think about back then when like we just have to, put flyers in the record shops and places you think people might hear about it. From a promotion aspect of being promoters, like we were horrible.
Yeah. Is there Did you do any shows by bands that I might know?
Oh, we booked Karate,
Okay.
actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, Karate.
Sorry.
Sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that.
But during the time you're trying to form a scene and develop your band in there, there are loads of fresh indie rock bands coming up that play a somehow similar sound or have similar influences. There's Sunny Day Real Estate, Christie Front Drive, Sandsfield, Seven Story Mountain, Mineral, The Promise Ring, Braid, Boys Life, Captain Jazz, The Get Up Kids. And then later on, Rainer Maria, The Jazz June, Texas is the Reason, Knapsack, Elliot, and so on and so forth. So in retrospect, it's easier to make connections between all those bands and that there is a scene coming up. But back in those days, there was no internet. But most of you connected somehow anyway, started touring together. And how did you manage this? How did you help create a scene? How did Jimmy Eat World become a part of this scene that obviously spawned somehow?
It was all about supporting other bands that you connected with on a musical or personal level. Christie Front Drive sent our horrible booking, our horrible promotions company, some promo records because they were trying to get to LA, and we thought it was great. So we set up a horrible gig for them, and without even hearing our band, Joel asked them if they wanted to be if they wanted to do like a split 7-inch with us. And which was a big deal back then because putting out records is expensive, and if someone's offering to put a record out for you, it's like you said yeah. So they said yeah, and they kept going through. I mean, that's basically how we met them. Yeah. And then through them, we met all the bands that they were connected with, like Boys Life, and it just kind of blossomed from there. Yeah. And I think Carrie, the bass player from Christie Front Drive, had met the Promise Ring people who were on tour. Texas is the Reason when they were. Yeah. So he met them. It was basically just playing with other bands was how you met other bands.
Yeah. But I find it very interesting because this scene is somehow, it feels so closed, and it happened somehow parallelly to, I don't know, new metal that was somehow spawning back in the day. But it wasn't part of the grunge movement that happened a little earlier or started happening a little earlier. It was just a thing on its own somehow. Even though those bands sound differently, but they are somehow connected through split singles, through labels, through going on tour together and sharing a bill. That was, I don't know, it feels unique somehow.
I think it was a little bit of luck because these are the people that were out there trying, Yeah. There's a lot of bands, but but you met the people that were out there actively working it, and sort of like you met the people that were common friends with you, and you met their friends. So it's like you got to be friends with those people by getting out there and doing it, and it wasn't easy. You had to you had to use a map. Yeah. And find the city, and then call the promoter, and if maybe they picked up, maybe they didn't. Yeah. Maybe your show's canceled, and you don't know. That happens. Or they say, okay, yeah, I'll give you directions to the club, and then you got to find the club. I mean, just like the nature of navigation in those days weeded out a lot of bands that Like if you can't find the club you're playing, then you kind of Darwinism kind of takes you out.
In that very scene, the split single or split EP was and still is a pretty popular format, and Jimmy Eat World released cooperative releases with Chrissy Front Drive, Emery, a band that really only released two singles.
They're from LA.
Blueprint, Mineral, Sandsfield, and Mineral and Sandsfield, J. June, Jebediah, another in 2005 with Taking Back Sunday, and then in 2023.
That was the best way to. I mean, you might make friends with some band, because you're on tour, they're on tour, and you try to set up a split record with them, so that like you both kind of have an in with the other person's other group's like fan base, and it wasn't even like, I mean, we're talking about pressing like 1,000 or 2,000 records here, not like such an in. The biggest part of that would be like you could go play their city with them and then get their fans to come and see you too. So, I mean, that was a big way that you discovered other groups. It was like you knew one band and then they were doing a split record with another one. So you check that out. If you like that, then you kind of research who they are.
Yeah. That's helpful. But sometimes on those split releases, bands cover each other, and you did so with Manchester Orchestra in 2023, for example. But during your career, you made a few interesting cover picks. Let's get into detail. So for a compilation named Songs for the Broken-Hearted, you covered Spangle by British indie band The Wedding Present. How did you discover that band?
I love The Wedding Present.
Yeah, you do?
Yeah, I was just like, I mean, they're just great.
Yeah, but how did you discover them? I mean, were they
older kids?
Have they been on MTV back in the day? So
that was like the older kids knew who they were.
Yeah. Okay.
They show me.
Yeah,
listen to the older kids.
Listen to the older kids.
They'll show you.
And then you dared to cover Wham's Last Christmas. Brave choice.
Sure.
Yeah. What made you pick that brave choice?
There, a radio station in Los Angeles wanted to do a compilation of Christmas songs for, and then they would sell it for like charity. So they asked us to be on it, and I don't know. Just started thinking. I don't know. Always had a soft spot in my heart for Wham, George Michael, and I think the whole thing with covers for me is like what's interesting. It's fun to do it like straight, like a karaoke version of it, because you get to pretend like you're in that band and it's fun. Yeah. Like that's how we did the Guided by Voices song "Game of Pricks." It was like straight, but then there's other times where it's like, okay, forget everything. What are the musical elements of this that like jump out at you? Okay, we're gonna take those and we're gonna run with those. And for Last Christmas, it was like, I don't know, it just seemed like the verses really were the weak part in that, so we just cut them out. Not one person has said, you don't sing any of the verses of Last Christmas. They not one person has commented that they're gone. There's we got rid of the verses of Last Christmas and we put it out as a song, and it's like people listen to it now.
There's another brave cover choice you did. It's from around the same time. It's your rendition of the Prodigy's "The Firestarter" that you made your very own version of. Can you remember how that evolved?
I remember it was a similar thing. We got asked an organization called War Child was the beneficiary of that. Yeah. And the concept was a bunch of like UK #1 hits. So we're looking at this list, and we see Firestarter, and everyone was getting it mixed up with Breathe. So like there's this foggy idea of what the song even is, you know? And so I pulled it up and I started listening to it, and like I don't know, for some reason I just thought like the one element that stuck out to me was just like the bass line of it, like the root chord progression. Like I decided to just kind of base it all off that.
Yeah.
You know, like I like responding to stuff with pieces missing, because then you fill in the blanks with you fill in the question marks with your own things.
Yeah.
Like if anyone sends me a song to check out or an idea to check out, I like, hey, what do you think about this idea for a song? I'll listen to it on my iPhones, like just the speakers. I don't want to hear it too well. Like I kind of want to think of the next thing to do with it still pretty murky. You know, you have to lean into it. You have to dig into it a little bit and use your imagination right off the bat to fill in the blanks. Mm-hmm. And like, that's where you find your next idea. Mm-hmm. Or at least I do.
Yeah. Kind of the biggest leap in the development of Jimmy Eat World's music happened between Static Prevails and Clarity. And pardon my French, but Clarity turned out to be a fucking masterpiece. Were still loud anthemic rock songs on there, but there are also ballads. You work with strings arranged by Suzy Katayama, with programmed beats, Casio tone, farfisa, chimes, bells. You have songs on there that stretch to 7 and even 16 minutes, and you must have been influenced and inspired by far more bands and musicians than the ones of your peer group or maybe the older kids told you about. So what helped you evolve to make Clarity possible?
We just got really into the idea of chasing the ideas that you're excited about. Mm-hmm. And that doesn't matter where it goes. We also thought that this might be our last chance to work in a real studio, so we're gonna rent timpani if we want. Why not? Cool. There was no rules to any of it, you know. It was us trying to make a studio album with no regard. It was just what sounds cool, and that was it. Didn't care about if we could play any of the songs live. Didn't care about like if anyone was going to like it. You know, it was just like, what do we want to do? Came up with that.
And then, well, you made this masterpiece, and at first people didn't even really listen to it, or it came out here and there, like not at the same time, and it didn't get really that much recognition in the beginning. How did you feel about that? I mean, you knew what you created there, and then it took a while until it finally got recognized, right? I mean, wasn't that like terribly disappointing, because it sounds like so much work that you put in there?
No, I mean, we made it. That's the reward there.
Okay.
You know, like we would never have made Clarity if we were thinking about, if we were basing that feeling of reward on whether or not other people would like it. We never would have made it.
Yeah.
At least not the way we did. It just felt, you know, like we were on. We kept going on tour and playing with different bands, and things just kind of seemed like it was growing. There was nothing to seem like a negative in that. Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, we thought the whole commercial success thing was sort of a joke by that point, anyway. You know, we knew what it would really take to be a band, and you know, that was fun. That was fun for us. That's what we were doing.
Mm-hmm. In 2001, Jimmy Eat World releases a song on the album Bleed American that somehow harkens back to your youth, to AM radio, to college classic and heavy rock, with a medley of lyrics. I'm talking about a praise chorus. You know that by now. So let's get into detail. So you hire Davey von Bohlen from The Promise Ring, and he sings lines from Crimson and Clover over and over by Tommy James and the Shondells. There's Our House in the Middle of the Street, from Madness, the line, why did we ever meet might refer to the Promise Ring's slightly different titled Why Did Ever We Meet. Then there's the rock and roll fantasy in the next line harkens back to Bad Company. Don't Let's Start is a line from They Might Be Giants song Don't Let's Start. And finally, Kickstart My Rock and Roll Heart is a title by Motley Crue.
I'd like to say thank you to Davey Von Bolen for giving a whole lot of lyric clearances we had to track down and approve to put that song out.
Yeah, that is. That would have been my next questions. Do you have to pay royalties to Nikki Sixx and Paul Rodgers and Tommy James and who not because you have a little bit of a line in that song?
We asked them and they said, that's fine. Just say thanks.
Okay. Oh, that's cool. So you really went to all those artists or their managements and
yeah.
Okay.
We had to.
Okay. Okay.
We had to.
Yeah. So it's almost like
actually,
clearing your samples for
Madness and They Might Be Giants were the clearest thing that we needed to if you had a musicologist take a look at that, like those are the clearest lifts that we had to approve.
Yeah. And all this stems from Davey. He wrote all that. He
basically listened. I mean, I had my lyrics written for that, and then we sent it to him.
Yeah,
and he basically just ran with the prompt of "Sing me something that I know."
Yeah,
he thought I would know all those songs. I did.
Yeah, yeah. He knows you well.
Yeah,
it seems. Yeah,
yeah. We spent a lot of time together. We toured for a while.
There is a vinyl edition of Bleed American that was released through the now defunct Grand Royal label that was founded by the Beastie Boys in 1993. How did that come about? That there is like this little edition of vinyl that actually is on Grand Royal? I mean, we hung out with the Beastie Boys a lot in those days. No, you didn't. So
no, we didn't. No, we didn't.
How did that come about? I know that around the same time they also signed at the Drive-In. Maybe that might give us a hint.
We were working with we worked with the management company that represents them, and that was something that they wanted to get into, is like putting out more vinyl releases of cool stuff, and they thought that one would be great to have as part of the label.
Yeah. Well, it was a short affair.
Yeah, and then Universal came and bought everything.
But in between Static Prevails and Clarity, you released a singles collection. The cover shows a couple of photos from the road, and one shows a German companion of yours, booking agent Philipp Stürer.
It does, yeah.
And on that photo, he's holding a CD, As Cobra by Turbo Negro. Can you remember when that was taken?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we were listening to Ask Cobra driving around Norway somewhere.
Okay. Well, that's
or maybe Spain.
Yeah.
Like Philip came on the road with us for a while.
Yeah. And did he introduce you to or confront you with all kinds of weird music like Mayhem and Entombed and whatnot?
He confronted us with all sorts of Scandinavian delights.
If I'm not wrong, he made you go and meet Gal from. Did he make you meet Gal from Mayhem?
I don't know if I've ever met him. I might have.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't think so. I might have remembered. I should remember that if I did.
Maybe. I thought that he's just introducing everybody to Gal.
Oh, maybe.
I remember doing an interview with you around the release of Bleed American, and I guess I asked you what you're recently listening to, and you said country. And I was baffled because for me back then, that was too far out. But maybe that's because I'm from Germany. I don't know. And country is rather a niche thing over here. So when it comes to country, what do you like?
Oh, man. You know what? The newest Gillian Welch and David Rawlings record is amazing. It's amazing. It's really great. It's one of their best. If you like them at all, it's like one of their best, I think. I don't know, John Prine. I don't know. There's like this era that's country, but it's also just like AM radio ish. It's kind of the same, sort of like crosses over.
I mean, as far as I know, there's kind of like there's outlaw country, and then there's pop country and arena rock country, and like there's
more
like
more
different
outlaw country, more outlaw country-ish than Garth Brooks.
Yeah.
Or Reba.
Yeah.
More. Yeah.
But growing up in Mesa or growing up in the States, well, you can't flee country, right? It's
you can flee it. Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with age, everybody develops a heart for country music.
I mean, there's certain. Yeah, I wouldn't say that it's like my. There's a lot. It's got to be just right. You know, there's a lot of it that takes that just is offensive in terms of music production. It's like, oh wow. But sometimes it's just right. It's like, you know, just really great songs. You know, like the stuff that kind of like grew out of like the Roy Orbison, Johnny Cash, people. The things are sprouted out of that, you know, like that you could say is on the more countryside is good.
Yeah. In 2015, he released a string of singles under your name and went on a solo tour. And there I heard at least glimpses of country fuel. What was the ambition behind that? And was that music that you couldn't realize with Jimmy Eat World, or didn't want to realize with Jimmy Eat World? Was it just your own thing?
It was kind of an exercise to try writing in a different way. Like what I could do with just acoustic guitar, where that would go. It went there.
Yeah. Was it fulfilling?
Sure. No, it was great.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. And with those EPs or singles, the cover songs returned. So you covered Robert Hazard's Girls Just Wanna Have Fun, Robert D. Loudermilk's Give Me a Sweetheart, and Beck's Don't Act Like Your Heart Isn't Hard. What made you pick especially those songs, especially for Girls Just Wanna Have Fun, which is...
It just, you know, the bummer version of that always seemed like the right thing to do. Yeah, and you know, "Give Me a Sweetheart" is like an amazing tune that I thought needed a little bit of dirt to it to make it shine, so to speak. And "Don't Act Like Your Heart Isn't Hard" is something that I got asked to do at we would do a promoter in Phoenix would do kind of like charity gigs and have local bands be all like cover different groups of musicians locally would do covers of stuff. And that was right around when Beck put out the Songreader album, which is basically, it was all sheet music. There's no actual recording of it. Yeah. And they asked me to do one. And so I opened up the music, and it was just like, it's been a while since I read anything. And I just, you know, dun, 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 dun. Like, okay, cool. That's the melody of it. And like, I didn't realize it's supposed to be like that. Dun, 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 dun. Like I didn't realize how fast it should be. I just so like the song came about at the speed I sight read it first, so it's like all slow.
I have one final question. Why your friend Mark Trombino opened a donut place, for you, coffee became a thing. So let me ask you, what music is best to accompany a fine coffee? I
think it's just the best accompaniment to your favorite kind of music, or just that whatever is. You got to go with the vibe of the moment, and that will be the right music.
Okay. Well, Jim, thank you very much for this.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Liebe Zuhörerinnen, Zuhörer und alle irgendwo dazwischen, wer auf dem Laufenden bleiben möchte und neugierig ist, in welcher Situation das Gespräch stattgefunden hat, darf gerne den Instagram-Kanal des Visions Magazins abonnieren oder meinen persönlichen unter Jan Schwarzkamp oder halt beide. Wer das Online-Abo von Visions Plus abschließt, kann den Podcast übrigens immer schon exklusiv vorab hören. Bleibt gesund und bleibt mir treu. Wir hören uns dann hoffentlich bei der nächsten Episode von Der Soundtrack meines Lebens wieder. Bis dahin, euer Jan Schwarzkamp.